Together this morning.
I can't count the times I've called your name some broken night, and you showed up and patched me up like you do every time. I get amnesia, I forget that you keep coming around. Ain't no way you'll ever let me down. Good God Almighty, I hope you'll find me praising your name no matter what comes. 'Cause I know where I'd be without your mercy. So I keep praising your name at the top of my lungs. Tell me, is he good? Tell me, is he God? He's God. He is good, God Almighty. You say your love goes on forever, that your mercy never stops. Why would I assume you'd be somebody that you're not? Like the sun in the morning, I know you're gonna be there every day. What on earth could make me be afraid? Good God Almighty, I hope you'll find me praising your name no matter what comes. 'Cause I know where I'd be without your mercy. So I keep praising your name at the top of my lungs. Tell me, is he good? Praise him when the sun goes down. Love him in the morning, love him in the noontime. Love him when the sun goes down. Good God Almighty, I hope you'll find me praising your name no matter what comes. 'Cause I know where I'd be without your mercy. So I keep praising your name at the top of my lungs. Tell me, is he good? He's good. Tell me, is he God? He's God. He is good, God Almighty. Jesus in the morning, Jesus in the noontime, Jesus when the sun goes down. Jesus in the morning, Jesus in the noontime, Jesus when the sun goes down.
Sing this next song called Hosanna. Hosanna means to praise, give joy. So let's give praise to God this morning through this next song. We praise you. I see the King of Glory. Sing this out. I see the King of Glory coming on the clouds with fire. The Holy shakes, the Holy shakes. Yeah. I see His love and mercy washing over all our sin. The people sing, the people sing. Sing it out. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. I see a generation we're going to continue worship with this next song that talks about who God says that we are. That we are chosen, we are free, we are forgiven through Christ. We are born on purpose for a purpose. Our past doesn't define us. Our future, what happens then, won't define us. But we're God's children. He loves us just the way that we are. Who am I that the highest King would welcome me? I was lost, but He brought me in. His love for me. Oh, His love for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free. Yes, I am free at last. He has ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, He died for me. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who You say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who You say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who You say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who You say I am. Yes, I am who You say I am. Who the Son sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I'm chosen. I'm not forsaken. I am a child of God. Each and every one of us made on purpose for a purpose. So let's sing it out. Declare it to Him this morning. I am chosen. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who You say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who You say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I
Well, hey, let's give it up for our awesome band. You guys sounded great. Thank you so much for singing along. You can go ahead and take your seat. My name is Mike Biddle, and I'm the creative arts pastor here at Crossroads, and I'm so glad that you are here. Is anyone else struggling like me with this whole time change thing? I got to be honest. If this happens every year, you'd think after being on this earth for 36 years, I'd figure out how to make it through a time change, but I just cannot figure it out. Who's also like me, where you just remembered a time change was happening right when you went to bed, and then you realized, I should have gone to bed 2 hours early? How many of you are like, what time change? I feel perfectly fine. I'm not even tired at all. Oh, I'm jealous of you guys. Well, we are so glad that you are here. And if you're visiting or watching us online, I just want to extend a very special welcome to you as well. One of the things we are so passionate about here at Crossroads is connecting with people. So whether this is your first time or you've been coming for a while, we would love an opportunity to connect with you. And the best way that we can do that is for you to fill out the Connect card. So if you do me a favor and grab that Connect card in the seat back pocket in front of you and fill that out, or you can scan the QR code to take you to a digital version of that. If you would fill that out, it'd be super helpful for us. Those of you who are online, you can follow the link in the chat to fill out the digital version of that. And you can drop those into the offering baskets as they come around here in just a little bit. But filling out that Connect card helps us to get to know you, but also just lets us know that you're here. But it also helps you get plugged in to the life of the church through serving, giving, group life, and more. So I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. That would be awesome. If you are visiting us for the first time, we have a special gift just for you. You can actually head to Connection Point in the back of the auditorium after the service is over and receive your gift. And for those of you online, if this is your first time with us, you are able to get a gift as well. So all the information that you give us in the Connect card gives us everything that we need to know in order to get you your gift. So be watching for that in the mail. The service hosts are going to come forward to receive the offering at this time. As always, if you're joining us for the first time, there's absolutely no pressure to give. The service is our gift to you. And for those of you who are ready to give, you can do so by putting your offering in the baskets as they come by. You can also use the drop boxes at the back of the auditorium on your way out if you prefer to give that way. And those of you who are online, you can follow the link in the chat, and that will take you to our online giving platform. Well, that's it for me, guys. We have a great message coming up from Keith. But before we do that, I'm going to kick it off to my friend Angela as she lets us know what's going on at Crossroads.
Hey, everyone. I'm Angela Sapp, and here's what's happening at Crossroads. Our spring food drop is quickly approaching, and that means it's time to fill a bag. If you'd like to donate to the food drop, you can grab a bag in the concourse on your way out of service. Or if you want to donate to him, you can write a check with food drop in the memo. If you have your own bag and just need a food donation list, scan the QR code or head to our app for more information. Don't forget to sign up to serve while you're there. Crossroads' mission is to be for you, for Jesus, and for a better life. Through your generous support, Crossroads is able to proudly represent GodWorks Family Soup Kitchen right here in our concourse each week. GodWorks is a non-denominational coalition of people who believe that hungry people deserve to eat. Our GodWorks volunteers strive to be the positive change in the lives of the people they serve. We serve more than a dozen hungry community members each week. People come faithfully for the food and the fellowship. Thank you, Crossroads, for feeding our community. We have a great message from Keith coming up, so let's get started.
So the last few weeks, we have been doing a series called Don't Give Up. We finished that up last week, and so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you missed any of those weeks, I'd encourage you to go back and check them out. And some of your small groups, or almost all of our small groups, are going through that study, and so you'll continue on in that, hopefully. And then if you did the personal journal, you're either finished up, got some to go, or haven't started yet. And so we would encourage you to go ahead and do that. It doesn't matter when you start it, but to go through that. So we finished that last week. Next week, we're starting a new series called Hungry. Check this out. So we are excited to start that series next week as we lead into Easter and prepare ourselves for Easter. So you want to come back as we kick that off next week. But this week, we're just doing one message. It's not a series. It's something that I think God's put on my heart, and so I get to share that today. You know, today, that topic is, just how we can kind of move as a church, as a people, as followers of Christ, to being less offended, less angry. And as I approached this message, I was like, this will be it's a great time to hear. It'll be good for the church to hear. Like, I've had this in my heart for a while, but I'm glad to preach on it. Now, unfortunately, as I picked the topic, God provided a whole lot of opportunities this week for me to be angry and offended. So I won't be preaching on this anymore. But, I'm not kidding. My whole week, I got here on Wednesday or Thursday, most of my message was written, and half of it didn't save. And so I got to start all over again. And, we got some information this week. We came off a good January giving at Crossroads. Amazing Heart of Christmas. February is the worst we've ever seen in the last 5 years. So that hit my desk this week. And it was like, man. And John's gone this week. They're looking at houses in Florida. And it just felt like there was just issue after issue that required extra meetings in my week this week. And there's a lot going on in society right now. Maybe not directly here, but it's hard to not watch the news and see what's going on in Ukraine and not get angry. And to top it all off, this week was like a milestone birthday for my wife, and so I wanted to carve some time out for that, and it just felt like this week was just not allowing for the time that I wanted. And so I had plenty of opportunities throughout the week just to be angry and offended, and I'm thankful for the word that God provided for me in this message this week. We all have some rough weeks, right? But have you noticed that recently it seems like people are pretty easily offended? You guys notice that at all? It seems more than in the past, people are easily offended. You know what else I noticed? And maybe this is because I'm around Christians more than not, but it feels like not only are people more easily offended, Christians in particular are very easily offended. Why is that? I started reading a book this week. It's called Unoffendable. It's by Brent Hansen. So I haven't finished it, so I can't necessarily recommend it, but so far, so good. But in the beginning of the book, it says a statement. He says, I believe as Christians we should become less offended, less offendable, and that we can become unoffendable. And I'm like, what? I'm offended by that statement, right? And so, I'm easily offended. Now, today, my goal is to help us become less offended. My goal is to help us get over maybe some anger or offenses that we have with others. And my guess is that just like me reading that book, there will be something I'll say today that might offend you. And I just want you to know this. My goal is not to offend you, and my hope is that I don't. But my goal is this. If I do offend you this morning, it's in a way that helps you get over your offenses with others, lessen your anger with others, and helps you maybe with a little bit of unforgiveness. And so, just have that disclaimer today. Now, we're gonna look into the book of James right away to talk about how we can deal with that. Hopefully, also, when you all came in, you received a stone. If you didn't, we'll have an opportunity for that later. So these are not to throw at the pastor when you don't agree with the message, just so you know. And Mikey said, by the way, daylight savings time, he doesn't like it. I just want to be honest. I love it. I Googled it 4 times this morning. When does the sun set? 7:40. We got sunshine till 7:40. I don't really care that I lost an hour. But has absolutely nothing to do with my message. So, James 1 through 19, we're going to read from there. It says this, understand this. So James, half-brother of Jesus, says, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. Quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to get angry. You can write this in your notes or on digitally if you're joining us online. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. How are we doing with this? How is society doing with this? Are we quick to listen? Are we slow to speak, slow to get angry? Because here's what I find. What I find is that we really struggle with that first part, the listen part. And maybe by we, I can only say me, and maybe you don't fall into the category, but I can say that I do, that we struggle with the listen part. Maybe we have the intention that we're going to listen, but we're quick to come back, right? We're quick to argue. There, matter of fact, are some trigger words that if anybody says these trigger words, we approach it and we're ready with like maybe one of three approaches, right? We're ready to be like, yeah, somebody needed to say that, and we're so ready to support it. Or we're like, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready to debate. Fists are up. You said that word. I don't even know what you're going to say, but I'm ready to go. Or maybe we're not a fight type. We're like, that word was said, triggered me. I'm out of here. I'm getting out of here. Words like Democrat, Republican. It was on Fox News. It was on CNN News. Electric car, oil, Trump, Biden, masks, COVID, vaccine, right? Critical race theory, racism, mandate, immigrant, wall. I don't care which one it is. It immediately elicits this like, I'm ready to go, or I'm ready to support, or I'm ready to get out of here. A matter of fact, me just saying some of those words, some of you are like, I don't even really want to hear a message on anger or offense. I just want you to talk about one of those things because that's what's most important to me. And these trigger words just instantly get us ready to do exactly the opposite of what James says, which is to listen. How you doing? How you doing with that? How you doing with that after I said some of those words? Are you still, right? Are you still quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry? Jesus lived this. Jesus lived this. He lived it well. Right? People would approach Jesus in the Gospels, and it's recorded in the Gospels that he had 183 times somebody asked him a question. 183 times somebody came to him and said, this is my question of you, Jesus. And you know what? Of those 183 times in the Gospels, you know how many times Jesus directly answered 183 questions? 3 times. 3 times. He got asked 183 questions, was only answered 3 times. Did he not know? Did he not know the truth? Like, why not? Like, why not just lay it down? I mean, we're so quick to be like, you believe that? Let me tell you why that's wrong. Jesus would have had the ultimate argument. Why did he not respond that way? Here's what's interesting. Not only did he answer directly 3 times, but 307 times he responded with a question. See, the question here seems like he cared much more about getting to know the person, knowing them, and having a dialogue than he did about making a point. And he would have had all the ammo at his back. But instead, he was quick to listen. Why don't we do this? Like, this is great advice. I have to use this because I am in all ways not very quick to listen. That is not my personality. And so I've had to teach myself that when I hear that word, when I hear that argument, when it's going, 4 questions. I'm going to ask at least 4 questions about where that person's at or why they're at that point before I even get into my argument. And not questions like we like to ask that are like, well, let me ask this question that I prepared in my quiet time that will trap all answers that you have to this question, and then I can tell you how you're wrong. Like a question that actually is interested in getting to know what that person thinks, who they are, and why they got to where they got. You know, it feels like today anger has evolved. Like, and it just continues to evolve. Like, it seems like at the beginning for me, like, anger was like, it was just a few things, maybe trivial things, and maybe I wouldn't quite define it as angry, but frustrated. We all have those things that really, like, frustrate us. Like, for me, for instance, like if I'm communicating to you on Facebook Marketplace, and we agree upon a price, and we agree upon a time and a day, and you say that you're going to send me the address, and I'm ready to come pick it up, and I can see that you saw me ask, I'm ready, what's the address? And you don't respond. It ticks me off, right? Not that that happened also this week. Or the people that for some reason believe the left lane on the highway is for passing if you plan on passing at any point in your next 3-hour drive, so you just sit in the left lane. Like, come on. That's not what it's for. Or you know, like, I am pretty sure, this one drives me nuts, that, like, there is a YouTube video out there somewhere that will teach you how to use cruise control, because when I pass you because you're going 30 miles an hour slower, that's not a signal to pass me again and then later drive 30 miles an hour slower. Just saying. Yeah, that's right. Frustrations, right? No, one more. I mean, come on. If you're using the self-checkout at Kroger, like, you shouldn't need help. Like, it's the self-checkout. So, like, go to the other checkout if you don't know what you're doing. Anyway, if I'm behind you in Kroger and you don't know what you're doing, it's okay. I'm praying for you. But it feels like these things have gone from little, like, anger moments and frustrations that pop up from time to time to this, we're just angry all the time. Angry all the time, everywhere, about everything. Like, you know, like I said, it's like vax, no vax, mask, no mask, kneel, who doesn't kneel. We concern ourselves with all these things, and we're angry at our issues. Some point it's moved from passionate about our issues to we're angry at our issues. And then there's this new escalation that has seemed to taken place, right? It's this. Everybody should be angry about it. I am angry about it. Everyone should be angry about it. Everyone should be trying to fix it. And especially anybody who calls themselves a Christian should be trying to fix it. And they should be angry about it. Even though there's hundreds of thousands of issues to be angry about, your one singular issue is the one that everyone should be angry about, that everyone should try and fix, and everyone should be concerned with. And here's the new level, right? We're angry that people aren't angry about what we're angry about. And so now we're angry at them because they're not angry enough at what we think they should be angry at, right? And it's like this escalation of angry. And I find myself, maybe not you, but myself more angered, agitated, irritated, and frustrated than ever. And I don't think it's very pleasing to God. That's what I see. And I think some of us just like to be angry. Like, it's not that we like the thing we're angry at, but we like to be angry because when we're angry at it, it makes us feel morally superior. And we enjoy that. And everyone else is an idiot. Everyone else is an idiot or evil or an evil idiot. And you don't have to go on Facebook very long to see that that's how everyone's described. Can I ask you this question? Your anger, how effective is it? How effective is your anger? Is it making you more like Jesus? Is it bringing more people into the presence of Jesus? Is it attracting more people to the gospel message? James said, read it again, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. And then he goes on, and we know that first part, but we forget this. He says this, and you can write it in your notes. Human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. Human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. That's not a Keith fill in the blank. That's straight from the Bible, right? No matter the size of the offense, no matter if it's the person driving by you that gives you the middle finger as you're leaving the parking lot at church, right? Or the larger one, somebody who has a different and opposing political view than you do. No matter the offense, the human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. And I commonly get this pushback. Okay, but my anger is a righteous anger because I am angry at sin. And it might be, because not all anger is bad. And it might be. But let me ask you this question. Why is it that everybody that is righteously angry at sin is always angry at everyone else's sin, but not their own? Because if we're not careful, it can go from a righteous anger to a self-righteous anger. I mean, when I am mad about sin, I can think of all the times I'm mad about someone else's sin and all the times I completely ignore my sin. Like all the times that I am mad about someone else's foul language, right? But who cares about my spiritual pride? That I am angry at someone else's sexual sin, but totally fine with gluttony. If we always think our anger is justified because we're angry at sin, why is it always about someone else's sin and not ours? Question. Ask you again. How effective is your anger? Are you helping make this world a better place? Are you helping attract people to God? Are you changing people's minds with your anger? Are you drawing people into the joy and the peace and the presence of God through love and grace because of what Jesus has done? Like when you look at your anger, does it just bring more joy to your life? Like, man, it just brings more joy and peace to your marriage. It emulates something that your kids will hope to someday bring in their family. How effective is your anger? See, I think we have to ask ourselves when we get angry this question. Do you want to make a point or do you want to make a difference? Do you want to make a point or do you want to make a difference? Because too many people just want to make a point. But if you want to make a difference, I think we have to have a different attitude. I think something has to change. We have to allow our actions to not be driven by our own emotions and our feelings and our flesh, but rather we would allow them to be driven by the Holy Spirit. And then we would not just be making a point, but also making a difference. I hear people say, you know what the problem is in church today? The problem is this. Church doesn't ever stand up for truth anymore. That's what's wrong with the church today. You know what's wrong with Christians today? They don't stand up for truth anymore. The church has gone soft. Here's what I say. Too often, the church has sacrificed their influence to make a point. Too often, churches sacrificed their influence to make a point, right? And now, because they've sacrificed their influence, they no longer can make a difference. Because they just were worried about making a point. And so even if we did want to stand up for truth today, it doesn't really matter because we've lost all influence a long time ago. It's not about trying to win the argument. It's trying to win people to the goodness and the grace of Jesus. And there's a big difference. There was this expert in the law, really, really smart guy, right? And he approaches Jesus. He said, Jesus, what's the most important thing? What's the most important thing? Tell me, what is the most important thing? And here's how Jesus responds. Matthew 22, he says this. He says, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. A second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. Most important thing is to love Jesus. It's to love God as we worship him and live for him and glorify him and love him with all that we do. And how do we do that? Loving others. Through grace and empathy and compassion, we love others. Crossroads would say that's what we want to do. We want to be for you and for Jesus. We want to love others. We want to love people. We love Jesus. The two things are connected. Why didn't Jesus say, you know what the most important thing is? That truth wouldn't drift. You know what the most important thing is? Is that you would help people understand what they're doing is wrong, right? You know what the most important thing is? Is that all these Pharisees that are getting it wrong that I constantly have to correct is correct them. That's not what he said, right? He was much smarter than that. He said it's to love God, love people, and this encompasses everything that the Bible calls us to do. And in this call, Jesus didn't call us to be right. He called us to be loving. Doesn't say what's the most important thing. To be right. To make sure you're right. To make sure you follow what's right. So the most important thing, he called us to be loving. Do you want to make a point or do you want to make a difference? You know, this is really hard for me. Like this concept. Because so I played football in high school. When I played football in high school, like there was times where I thought the key was I could be better, I could accomplish more if I could just get myself to be more angry. And that's how you play. Good football player, play angry. The longer I played, the more I learned the opposite was true. If I could get the person across from me to get angry, I could get him to make mistakes. I could get him off his game. Same was true in basketball. If I could do some things that we won't talk about when I played basketball that would tick them off, I could get them off their game. I could get them to make mistakes. I mean, when we talk about this battle that we fight against the forces of darkness in this world, right? We think directly of soldiers. You know what the worst kind of soldier is? An angry soldier. Worst kind of soldier. Best kind of soldier is that in the heat of battle, a soldier can stick to their training and not lose their cool. As disciples who battle against the forces of darkness, we have to lead with love, not anger. And that's what Jesus calls us to do, to lead with love, not anger. If you catch nothing else, catch this today. Lead with love, not anger. You're just trying to make a point, or you want to make a difference? Because hearts are rarely changed by your anger, by your accusations, and by your judgment, but they are changed by your discussion, right? Compassion, empathy, and love. Lead with love, not anger. Now, maybe you find yourself like me, and you just find this hard. It's hard because there's so much going on, this he said, she said out there. Like, you see it everywhere. You see that whole, they're an idiot, they're evil, they're an idiot, and evil. I mean, I can't go on Facebook when school gets canceled because of snow and can't see some ticked off parents that it wasn't canceled sooner, or that it was canceled, or when it's not canceled, that I can't believe that it is not canceled. Everybody's mad about everything. The bus schedule came too late. It was too early. They expect too much. And it's hard. I watch everybody else getting angry, and I'm angry because everybody else is angry. And how do I approach this? How do I lead with love? I mean, I'm not asking you. It's not that I don't have strong opinions. I got some strong opinions. It's not that I believe truth is relative. I don't. I think there's one truth. It's not that I don't think that we should fight for some stuff and champion just causes. But I don't want my strong opinions to overrule my main calling that Jesus called me to here, which is that I am called to share the love of Jesus. I am called to take the gospel to people. And if my own opinions and what I think is the issue ever gets in the way of getting the gospel to people, I've missed it. At some point, if I think people understanding what is truth is more important than getting the gospel to them, I have missed it. So how do I do that? Because I'm ticked. Angry. Everybody else is angry. Three ways I think we can do that. First way, lower your expectations of others. Lower your expectations of others. Someone's going to lie to you. I promise. Someone's going to betray you. Someone's going to not show up for your thing. Someone's not going to say thank you for what you did. Someone's going to forget your birthday. You're going to show up for their thing, and they won't show up for yours. What do you expect? Have you never let anyone down? But we're like, yeah, but they're a Christian. They're my best friend. They're my family. Like, if it's somebody else, it's fine, but I can't believe. If you always raise your expectations of everybody, you'll always be disappointed. You'll always be hurt. Apostle Paul told Timothy this. He said, as we move along in life and we get towards the end, this is what people are going to be like. He said, for people will love only themselves and their money. They will be boastful and proud, scoffing at God, disobedient to their parents and ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. They will be unloving and unforgiving. They will slander others, have no self-control. They will be cruel and hate what is good. They will betray their friends. They will be reckless, be puffed up with pride, and love pleasure rather than God. They will act religious, but they will reject the power that could make them godly. If you're not Jesus, you're not perfect. People will let you down. I will let you down. If I haven't let you down yet, give me some time. I'll get there. You just haven't been around me enough. And when I do, now you know that you don't have to say, God let me down. Because Keith let me down, God let me down. Because Keith let me down, the church let me down. No. A sinful person who isn't perfect, just like you, let you down. And that is an expectation that you should have, because we are all sinful people. And sinful people do sinful things. You want to lead with love? Lower your expectations. Jesus was never shocked by the sins of others. He was never pushed away by it. Jesus approached this woman. She was at the well. And it says in the story that he knew that she had been with 5 other men, and she was currently with a man that wasn't her own husband. So what did Jesus do? He responded by telling her the truth, right? What you're doing is wrong. You're screwing up your life. Do you not realize this? Like, no. Offered her a cup of water and then proceeded to be the first person he told that he was the Savior. Began to love. Jesus had these disciples. Do you know that Jesus spent these 3 years on mission? 3 years doing his ministry, and his ministry would only continue based on what these disciples did. And he's invested in them. What do? Conversation after conversation. Who do you think's the best? I think I'm the best. Who do you think? I'm the best. It's like a conversation in the backseat of my car with 4 kids. Like, who's the best? Like, I'm their favorite. Oh, I'm their favorite. I always tell my kids, no, I'm my favorite. But so Jesus is going, you don't get it. I spent all this time with you. Are you guys idiots? Are you guys just evil? Idiot evil? Like, what's going on? No, he keeps loving them. Keeps pouring into them. Keeps investing in them. Peter's like, I'm never going to betray you, Jesus. Like, if you need somebody to fight, I will fight. I will never leave you, never deny you. What does Peter do? He denies him. He lied. He stabbed Jesus in the back. What does Jesus do? He says, I'm going to build my church on you. He was never surprised because sinners do sinful things. People are going to let you down. If you want to lead with love, you got to lower your expectations. Second thing, raise your gratitude for God's grace. Raise your gratitude for God's grace. I need everybody to lift their hand if you have never sinned, and you absolutely 100% deserve God's love because you've never sinned, you've never cheated, you've never lied, you've never looked lustfully at anybody, you've never envied, you've never gossiped, you've never left the toilet seat up before. Some of you are like, toilet seat up, that's not a sin. You never see my wife approach me after I left the toilet seat up before. That's definitely a sin. So, anybody? Just me? Good. So if we fall so short of God's grace, how does this relationship become made right? Paul says here. He says it in Ephesians 2:8. God saved you by the good things you did. No, God saved you by his grace. When you believed, and you can't take credit for this. It's a gift from God. Salvation is not a reward for the good things we have done, so none of us can boast about it. But you're like, but they lied. Yeah, I've lied too. But they're so arrogant. Yeah, I've been arrogant too. But they've stole from me. Yeah, I've stole too. And I need the grace of God. Y'all got a stone when you came in. Pick up my stone. My stone, it makes me comfortable. Got my stone in my hand. Today we've talked a lot about these offenses. We talked a little bit about some politics and some friends and some family, but I know that some of you might be experiencing a major betrayal today. An abuse of your kid, an abuse of you when you were a kid. Maybe today, for the first time, you found out that your spouse has been leading a different life, and the betrayal is huge. So I want to tell you, I'm not to minimize that, but the betrayal, no matter how big, no matter how small, there tends to be this mentality. There's this mentality that I am right and they are wrong, that I am right and they are wrong. And it may be true. You might be right. And they might be wrong, but if we're not careful, what we do is we allow our anger to justify our right to hold the stone. This makes us feel good. And it's not that we want to throw it, but just in case they voted for the wrong candidate, in case they're spreading false information, in case they tell us, I can't believe you believe that about a vaccine, you believe that about a mask, and we're not careful, we let our anger justify our right to hold the stone. And Jesus experienced this moment where there's this group of angry men. They said to Jesus, they're like, hey, this woman here has committed adultery. Law says that we should stone her. What should we do? The story says that Jesus knelt over and he began to draw in the sand. And we don't know what Jesus drew, but tradition would tell us that maybe he started writing the sins of the people holding the stones. And then he said, whoever has not sinned, throw the stone. You know, there are many, many, many injustices in this world that break the heart of God and should break our hearts too. There are many, many rights or wrongs that need to be righted. And it's so easy to look at those things and get angry and say, I'm right, they're wrong. I'm right, they're wrong. And my anger justifies my right to hold the stone. But you got to ask yourself this question. How often do angry people really make a difference? Want to make a difference? Jesus says, lead with love. Lower your expectations. Raise your gratitude of God's grace. And because of that grace and nothing else, he says, drop your stone. Drop your stone. Want to be right? You want to make a difference. How you doing? Are you quick to listen? Are you slow to speak? Slow to anger? Today, I'm going to give you an opportunity as the worship team plays to do exactly what I did, but to do it up here. To drop your metaphorical stone in your life. You know, maybe today that's not you, and that's okay. You can just set the stone down at your seat. You don't have to do that. But today, as we worship, if you really want to make a difference, because there's a lot of difference it needs to make, and you want to lead with love, you got to lower your expectations of others, increase your gratitude for grace, and drop your stone. And so today, I'm going to ask that you come forward as we worship, and that you lay your stone at the stage here. Only if you feel the Holy Spirit speaking to you that you need to do that, not because it's something Pastor Keith said. So today as the worship team plays, want to make a difference? Want to lead with love? Come up here and drop your stone right on the stage. We turn to the worship team, and then I'll come back up and pray.
God, I'm on my knees again. God, I'm begging, please again. I need you. Oh, I need you. Walking down these desert roads, water for my thirsty soul. I need you. Oh, I need you. Your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips. It's like the sound of a symphony to my ears. It's like holy water on my skin. Can't be walking slave to sin. I wanna know about being born again. I need you. Oh God, I need you. So take me to the riverside. Take me under baptized. I need you. Oh God, I need you. Your forgiveness is like sweet, sweet honey on my lips. It's like the sound of a symphony to my ears. It's like holy water on my skin. Oh, on my skin. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me wanna change. I don't wanna abuse your grace. God, I need it every day. It's the only thing that ever really makes me It's like a sound of a symphony to my ears. It's like holy water, your forgiveness. Oh, it's like sweet, sweet honey on my lips. It's like a sound of a symphony to my ears. It's like holy water on my skin. It's like holy water on my skin. It's like holy water.
Lord, there are so many things wrong with this world. There are so many wrongs that need to be righted. And we need a lot more Christians that will make a difference. But Lord, help us to lead with love. Help us to lead with love in a way that is hard, that requires your grace to do it. That we would lower our expectations of others. That we would raise our gratitude and our understanding of your grace. And that we would put down the stone. For we have no right to hold it. But I know that we can't do this without you. And so we ask upon that in our lives, that your Spirit would come in us and allow us to do what we cannot do on our own. Thank you for that. It's in your name we pray. So today, I believe there's somebody sitting out here, somebody online that has not realized ever in their life about this grace, right? We said that you are saved because of the grace of God, not by what you were able to do. And so I just want to tell you that if you've never experienced that grace and never said, I want to follow Jesus for the first time, today is your chance. And all you got to do is say, that's what I want to do today. We put this QR code on the back of your seats and on the screen. We'd love for you to scan it so we can give you some next steps to follow Jesus for the first time. Don't miss that opportunity if that's you today. The rest of you, I just want to remind you a few things. One is we do start next week with a Hungry series. We prepare for Easter. Bring somebody with you. If you are new here today, I'd love to connect with you, or if you have a next step you want to talk about, and I'll be back at Connection Point. And just as you go, lead with love, not anger. Put down your stone. We'll see you next week. Thanks.